It was very therapeutic to paint because I put insults and my own fears of feeling deformed or sick.
Welcome to Heart with Anna. I am Anna Jaworski and I'm a mother of an adult with a single ventricle heart. That's the reason I'm the host of your program. Today's guest is Amy Milz. Amy was born with 3 heart defects, none of which were recognized by her family's doctor. Her mom, Jody, insisted something was wrong and took her to another doctor, which was the beginning of Amy's journey with heart surgery and all the things that go along with that. Her experiences living as a CHD survivor inspired Amy to find her true passion, which is art. And she has found that her art resonates with others as well. Welcome to Heart with Anna, Amy.
Hello. Happy to be here.
Well, I'm so happy to be talking to you today, and I can't wait for us to learn more about your passion. Let's start first, though, with some of the heart surgeries that you've been through. Can you tell us briefly about what surgeries you've had and how you're doing now, heart-wise?
The 3 heart defects I have is ventricular septal defect, subaortic stenosis, and a cortation of the aorta. I had 4 open heart surgeries, which were all done at the age of 6 and younger. My first heart surgery was done a month after I was born to repair the cortation. Then 3 months after my first surgery, I had another one to close my VSD, and they waited the 3 months because they wanted me to get heavier and bigger because I
Sure.
wasn't gaining weight at the time.
Mhm.
Then I had to have a feeding tube. Then I had another surgery 1 month after that, and then my last one
Wow.
was when I was 6 years old, so
Wow. So your poor mom. I mean,
Mhm.
it sounds like it was back to back to back surgeries, just
Yeah.
about.
She said she
Wow.
lived in 2 outfits that she took there, and she spent all her time at the hospital. She said she went through a lot of books, though, to keep her occupied.
Well,
I've almost had another open heart surgery in 2013 because when they're going in to look at my stent, they found that I had an aneurysm on it. We planned for open heart surgery, but they're kind of weary about it because of my scar tissue from all the previous surgeries. About a week before my scheduled surgery, they discussed it with Boston Children's Hospital, and then they figured I would be a good candidate for the trial stent that
oh,
pretty much went inside, normally went through, and then it kinda slapped against the side, so then it blocked off the aneurysm. I was like a guinea pig for that, so I had to sign lots of paperwork. So that's
wow.
pretty interesting.
That was 11 years ago. And how are you doing now? Are you
Good.
concerned at all about the aneurysm?
No, it's gone pretty much, so it worked out very well. It blocked it right off. So I was very
That's
thankful for that.
amazing.
So, yeah, they wanted to try that,
Yeah.
and then if that one didn't work, then they would have done a open heart surgery. I'm glad it worked, and everything
I'm
continued to
glad
go
it
well.
worked for you too.
Mhm.
Wow. Because my daughter ended up having an aortic aneurysm as well. She has a single
Okay.
ventricle heart and it got to 4 centimeters. It
Ooh.
was huge. And they had to fix it with open
Mhm.
heart surgery. I never heard of that. Stent.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
But we
Because she
had,
had
like
it in 2011, so it was right at the same time you were having yours.
Mhm. Yeah, and they had to get the right size stent. They had to order it. Took a couple of months for it to come in, and then someone opened it up to look at it, and they had someone accidentally throw away the stent.
Oh,
So, yeah. So then
that's
they had to reorder it, so I had to wait even longer. So my aneurysm
oh.
actually got even larger. It's kinda scary having to wait that long.
Now, did you feel different? Did you feel tired? How did they know that you had the aneurysm?
Yes, I was very tired all the time. I actually just was just from going through high school and hormone stuff. So I laughed all the time, you know?
Yeah, not unreasonable.
So I
Teenagers
think,
are often
yeah,
tired. Yeah.
I think it happened so gradually, I didn't really notice it. I graduated in 2012 from high school. So yeah, it was like a year after that they found it. Pretty scary.
That is pretty scary, but how awesome that you got to be in this trial and you were one of
Mhm.
the success stories.
Yeah.
You're making history, which is
Yep.
really, really cool.
I'm sure I'm probably just a number in their system. It's pretty neat.
It is really neat. Not everybody has an opportunity to contribute to medical science like
Mhm.
you have, so that's pretty exciting. Having someone be a close advocate for you when you're not able to advocate for yourself is so important. Can you tell us about how your mom, Jody, became somewhat of a personal superhero for you?
Sure. When I was born, my mom was suspecting that something was wrong with me when she saw me right away. I was her second child because I have an older sister that's 3 years older. And the doctors told her, oh, no, everything checked out fine. They took me home, but I didn't eat normal, like normal babies. I ate really fast and then I'll throw everything up. She was concerned and took me to the doctor, but the doctor told my mom, "Oh, you're just a nervous new mom. Everything's fine." And they laughed, and that didn't really sit well with my mom because she could tell something was wrong. Because of course I didn't do it then when she took me to
Of course, you
doctor.
wouldn't
I
do it in
wasn't
front of them.
because I wasn't eating. So she took me into a different doctor and they instantly agreed something was severely wrong. So I think at that point, it was probably a lot worse. They sent me to the hospital and then they ran several tests. They sent my parents home because by then it was pretty late at night. They were sleeping and then they got a phone call that I got a lot worse. I had fluid in my lungs and then I had trouble breathing. So then they decided to take me to Milwaukee Children's Hospital. And they wanted to take me on a helicopter, but it ended up not being available at the time. So they had to rush me in the ambulance and we're a little over an hour away. So as soon as
Oh,
they took me in, they started the surgery right away because I went into cardiac arrest. And then
oh my
that's when they
gosh.
found all the heart problems, so it was a very scary time
Wow.
for them.
Wow. Your mom was a strong advocate for you. And if you had a heart attack in the ambulance, imagine
Mhm.
if she wouldn't have fought for you, probably would have had that heart attack at home.
Mhm.
And she might not have been able to save you, which is really scary. I can see why your mom would be a superhero to you because she knew.
Yep.
Moms who are listening, dads who
Trust
are
your
listening, trust
instincts.
your gut.
Mhm.
Exactly. Exactly.
Always get a second opinion.
Yes, you had an awful lot of surgery as an infant, which hopefully you don't remember. You might remember the one when you were 6
Yeah, I
because,
remember quite a bit from
yeah,
that.
but then you went to school, which is really
Mhm.
cool. So tell me what it was like for you going to school and making friends after having survived all of these heart procedures.
Well, not gonna lie, going to school was pretty tough because we don't live in a big city, and at the time, we didn't have so much social media. People weren't really aware of everything to do with CHD. So when began first grade, I was still recovering from open heart surgery. I was only allowed to play in the swings and not any of the other equipment that would do anything with lifting with the chest. So when I made friends, they tended to get mad at me because I wouldn't play with them. And I
Oh,
even had a girl that pulled me and tried to force me onto the equipment, which was really weird. So I lost one of my friends because of that, because she's friends with that girl that was trying to make me play with them. Luckily, I became friends with a different girl. She wasn't mean to me and didn't question why I couldn't play on the playground equipment. She would swing on the swings with me pretty much every day. And then we
aw,
just kind of came closer from that and then ended up
sure.
that her mom knew my mom when they went to school together. But because of that, she was the first person that wasn't afraid of me dying on her watch or wasn't scared of
Mhm.
me. So then I got to have sleepovers. So that's pretty nice.
Do you feel like the rest of your elementary school, middle school, high school years were fairly normal?
Uh,
Okay, that answer is no.
Not really.
Okay,
Through elementary school, I ended up making more friends, but a lot of kids would tease me about my scars. And then gym class was definitely hard or anything sports because then I would have to stand off to the side or I wouldn't be able to run continuously and stuff like that.
sure.
So being a kid, they had questions. A lot of times I just tell them, oh, I have a hole in my heart because I didn't understand everything either.
Sure.
This content is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. The opinions expressed in the podcast are not those of Hearts Unite the Globe, but of the hosts and guests, and are intended to spark discussion about issues pertaining to congenital heart disease or bereavement.
Embark on a heartwarming odyssey with Baby Heart's Pressure Gateway to uplifting stories for the CHD community. Introducing the Heart of a Heart Warrior book series, inspiring those born with heart defects and their loved ones. Discover the heart of a mother, the heart of a father, and my brother needs an operation. Books celebrating strength, love, and familial support. Visit babyheartspress.com and be part of our loving community, uplifting hearts one story at a time.
You are listening to Heart with Anna. If you have a question or comment that you would like addressed on our show, please send an email to Anna Jaworski at anna@hearttoheartwithanna.com. That's anna@hearttoheartwithanna.com. Now, back to Heart with Anna.
What has it been like navigating dating and forming adult relationships while being a CHD survivor, Amy?
I suppose it wasn't too hard for me to form friendships. I guess I didn't really date much until recently because I was married for a long time and we met in high school. That was hard though, telling him, but he ended up being okay with it because his mom has Crohn's disease. So he was very understanding at the time.
Okay. Yeah. He understood what living with a chronic illness is like.
Mhm.
But it sounds like while the children were harassing you and not understanding and had unfair expectations of you, when you came to be an adult, you found people were more sympathetic and understanding about your
Mhm.
situation. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think kids don't understand, they're just
They don't.
curious and they take things the wrong way or bully and they don't really know what they're doing till they're older.
Yeah. I think you're right.
Mhm.
Now, you finished high school and then you went on to become a dental assistant. How did
Mhm.
realizing that particular career choice was not a good fit eventually become something positive for you?
Right out of college, I suppose I was pressured like most kids to find a respectable career path, and I felt I wasn't smart enough for a 4-year school. I went to a technical school to learn how to do dental assisting. I graduated and found a job. The person that was training me actually decided to stay there instead of leaving because of that 3 months of working at that place. It kinda looked bad on my resume, plus I'm not the best at interviews because I get really nervous. I gave up and continued to working at the restaurants I did since I was in high school, and then I worked in retail for a while. Then I ended up finding a job as office assistant for a veterinarian that did embryo transfers for cows. So that's pretty interesting.
Whoa. Embryo
Yeah.
transfers for cows would be a job in and of itself. I mean, look at what
Right?
you're teaching me today, Amy. Wow. So is that the job that you have stuck with through the years?
I think I was there for about 5 years, but then he decided to retire. I ended up getting a job as a custodian at Lakeland University. And then I decided that I felt like something was missing from my life. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to go for my bachelor's. So I started slow.
Wow. Uh-huh.
part-time because I didn't know I would be after 10 years of not going to school.
Yeah, that's
So
reasonable.
I didn't
Okay.
want to overwhelm myself. So I started part-time schooling and eventually went to full-time now.
Wow.
So
So are you in school full time right now?
yeah, the term just ended, but I have 2 summer online classes, which is nice because then I can spread it out a little more
Sure.
and I'm not so overwhelmed.
What's your major?
Majoring in studio art and minoring in graphic design. Oh, and I love all of it. It's fun. Definitely learning a lot from it.
Yeah. So tell us about that because it seems like a little bit later in life you realize, hey, I do have this talent for art. And now you're
Mhm.
getting a degree in art. So tell me about it. How did you discover that you had this talent?
I started realizing I was pretty good at art in middle school, and I had a very inspiring teacher that I'm actually in contact with because she does those wine painting adult classes
Oh,
for
yeah, yeah. Those were
extra
fun.
cash. So
Yeah,
she still
yeah.
teaches them today, but she really guided me in discovering my art talent. Then I put it in the back burner because I thought, oh, I need to go to school, find a job that pays well, which is understandable because my parents were concerned that I wouldn't be able to have good health insurance
Yes. Yeah.
because that's
And it
definitely
is
important for us.
absolutely. Yeah, sure. Artwork that attracted me to you, Amy, because my friend Michelle Ringsmaki was sharing some of your artwork on
Hmm.
her Facebook page. It caught my eye because it deals with the heart. So,
Mhm.
could you describe one of your favorite pieces that you've done? Because I know you're
Sure.
working on a series right now.
Yeah.
And friends, I will be putting a link, and hopefully, Amy will be sharing some of those pictures with me, and I can use those when I'm posting about the show as well.
Yeah, I can definitely share them with you. I actually just finished the series because classes just ended. So I
Okay,
ended up doing 4 of them, and the first one I started with is the one that caught your eye called My Life is in Your Hands. The skeleton has wires and the sternum that the surgeons use to hold the two halves together after they complete heart surgery. Made those red so they could stand out a little bit.
sure.
The skeleton is blue to represent what color people with CHD turn when their blood is under oxygenated. Its hands are in the surgeon's hands to represent how much trust is needed between the surgeon and the patient. The background is orange with yellow lettering of things people have said to me over the years, along with my own self doubts and fears. It was very therapeutic to paint because I put insults and my own fears of feeling deformed or sick. Some things that people have said is you're lucky that you don't have to run. And that happened a lot in high school with their exercise test.
And what they didn't realize was that's one of the things you wanted to
Yeah.
do.
I wanted to be normal, be able to run
Yeah.
without feeling I was super old and out of breath.
But the artwork was therapeutic.
Yeah.
Tell me how you found the artwork therapeutic.
It felt good to let everything out that was pretty much built up through the years. The first painting I did with the insults and my own fears was like the dark side of it. And then after that, I made another painting. It's called Faith in the Face of Death. In this painting, I focus more of the positive aspects of CHD and how it affected me. It made me have so much empathy for anyone struggling with any sickness. It forced me to face death multiple times, but against all odds, I made it through. During these struggles, I never lost faith. So, this painting is of a lady with scars from open heart surgery, and then she has pink wings behind her.
Wow.
It was like a green background. And then I also put wording to it as well, was more spiritual and uplifting, like the positive side of it. My third painting was more colorful. I did multiple colors in the background, and then I did white paint to mimic a EKG, but I'm pretty sure
Oh,
it's
yeah,
not
yeah.
accurate at all.
Okay. So the
So,
artist rendition.
yeah,
That's your creative license.
I just kinda scribbled. And then I painted a realistic looking heart as the
Cool.
main focus
Okay.
of it, and then I
Right.
put lettering on it as well, and I put the CHD abbreviation. The most recent one I did is a self-portrait, and it's in black and white with a silver leaf background, and I have my scar painted in reddish pinkish color.
Okay. Is your scar still red or pink? Because my child's scar is very faint.
A little bit, but it's mainly a white color, so
That's my daughter's is as
yeah.
well.
And then I have one on my back too from one of my first surgeries, but that one's really faint.
Yeah, yeah, because that was probably your first one. Do you
Mhm.
feel that this series represents your coming to terms with being born with an unusual heart?
Yeah. It made me confront it more. You always think about it, but then you get sucked into life and then you kind of forget about it unless you have symptoms or when you take your medications or you have doctor appointments. But sometimes it just hits you because you get a smell of something you smelt in the hospital or someone says something that reminds you of stuff you went through. So it helped me confront it. It was very therapeutic to paint everything and get everything out there. And it was pretty neat to see how much attraction my first painting put forth because there's women that were messaging me how it made them cry because a lot of the stuff that I put on was things they've been through too. I'm a part of a Zipper Sister group on Facebook. So it's for women that have congenital heart defects. I put it on there as well. And that's where I got a lot of comments that it really helped them and that they're really interested in purchasing copies of it someday. So that was pretty neat.
Heart to Heart with Anna is a presentation of Hearts Unite the Globe and is part of the Hug Podcast Network. Hearts Unite the Globe is a nonprofit organization devoted to providing resources to the congenital heart defect community to uplift, empower, and enrich the lives of our community members. If you would like access to free resources pertaining to the CHD community, please visit our website at www.congenitalheartdefects.com for information about CHD, the hospitals that treat children with CHD, summer camps for CHD survivors, and much, much more.
Amy, you stated in your bio that your marriage came to an end in the summer of 2023. How has the ending of your marriage encouraged you to step back and take a look at all that you've been through?
Well, the ending of my marriage was really tough for me. I was with him for 13 years and he was with me through my surgeries and when I had complications with my stents. I'm like, "Oh, he'll be there with me forever." So that was pretty tough. It helped me
Yeah.
realize that our relationship really wasn't overall very healthy and I deserved better. It helped me focus on my art and helped me find my own style that eventually touched the hearts of other people. So that was kind of nice. And it helped me search deep down what I was interested in, what my purpose should be, and what my goals really are, and how I should focus on them more.
Right. So it sounds like the art was therapeutic, not just for you coming to terms with your congenital heart disease, but also the end of your marriage and a new chapter in your
Mhm,
life, which was discovering yourself as an artist
mhm,
and maybe appreciating the strength that you had that maybe you didn't even realize you had.
mhm. Yeah. It's very different, but in the end, it helped me find myself more. So I'm thankful for that.
If you were with him for 13 years, you must have gotten married straight out of high school because you look
Yeah,
really young.
we got married in 2016.
You knew him in high school
Mhm.
then. Were you
Yeah.
friends or had you dated?
We met at a football scrimmage, and he was actually from a different school, so that's how we knew each other from there, and then we
Okay.
just kinda formed a relationship.
Before we go, Amy, what is one of the most important things that you've learned that you feel should be shared with other CHD survivors?
I think a lot of it is trust your own body and be your own advocate. That was hard for me just because I'm always so soft spoken through my life and I always had my parents stand up for me. So it was hard for me to adjust into adult care and learn how to stand up for myself through those situations. Don't be afraid to live your life since most of us weren't expected to live their life. You know, I feel like a lot of us cheat death in a way. And we get
Yeah,
those reminders. A lot of us were close to death multiple times. So I think
yeah,
that makes us aware of how short our lives really are. And I think that's almost like a blessing in a way because then it helps us to live every moment, basically, to take in everything and experience everything.
do you think that being aware of your own mortality influenced your artwork? Because I felt that very strongly when I saw the skeletons, and
Yes,
I felt, wow,
definitely.
she's definitely had to confront that fear
Mhm.
of your own mortality. Is that something that you feel has helped you to reconcile that?
Yeah. As a kid growing up, you don't really think, you're sick and, there's issues and your parents don't want to worry you too much. So it's not until you get older until you realize how risky surgeries were and how close you were to dying. And as an adult, it was hard for me to process too because of just out of high school having so many things happen to me at once.
Right. How old were you when you had that last surgery with the stent?
I was 19 or 20 because Children's Hospital still treated me. So I think I was 19.
But you had to sign all the paperwork yourself this time, didn't you?
Yep. Mhm.
So that must have been a major difference for you because when you sign that paperwork, if you read it, it tells you every potential
Yep.
consequence that can happen. And it's
Definitely.
scary.
And then you
Yeah.
can't sue. That was kinda scary.
Yeah. You were doing a clinical trial. So
Yeah.
they probably had even more paperwork for
Mhm.
you to sign and even more unknown. I mean, there's
Yeah.
already a lot of unknowns when it comes to medicine, but you were taking a big chance.
Mhm.
Wow. I think that's really awesome advice, though, to live your life and
Mhm.
not be afraid. And I think you're a living example of how we do need to not take any moment for granted. And if we find something we're passionate about, like now you have found your artwork that you're passionate about, good for
Mhm.
you for going back to school after so many
Thanks.
years and getting your degree. So, when you finish this degree, what kind of job will you be looking for?
Probably something with graphic design, but I felt like if I wasn't able to find something right away, I might look into getting my master's in counseling and do art therapy and continue working at
Oh,
Lakeland through that. So
yeah.
I'm just kind of seeing where life takes me and not trying to rush it and taking my own time on it and enjoying it. 'Cause it's
Yeah.
neat learning all this stuff and just appreciating it, and it's always neat learning new things.
And it sounds like you have an appreciation for how art has been therapeutic for you. So for
Mhm,
you to be able to share that with others, I think that would be so lovely.
mhm.
I can't believe it's time to conclude the show already, Amy. Thank you so much for coming on the program and sharing your experiences and your advice and your artwork with us.
Yes, definitely, thank you for inviting me.
It has been delightful. So that does conclude this episode of Heart to Heart with Anna. Thanks for listening today, my friends. Please consider becoming a patron or a supporter of our podcast. In our show notes, you will see different ways that you can be a patron or a supporter, or you can always go to heartsunitetheglobe.com and there are donate buttons there. So remember, my friends, you are not alone.
Thank you again for joining us this week. We hope you have become inspired and empowered to become an advocate for the congenital heart community. Heart to Heart with Anna with your host, Anna Jaworski, can be heard at any time wherever you get your podcasts. A new episode is released every Tuesday from noon Eastern Time.